Hello, everybody. Joe Cioffi here, Fios 1 News, Long Island, and Fios 1 News, New Jersey.
And Joe Rayo, Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley.
Hoping that we will be joined shortly by Mr. Green, our Addison Green, Fios 1 News, Long Island, and Hudson Valley during the day, but we can't seem to connect. He is not answering his telephone. I finally got this tech stuff figured out in terms of trying to get guests on, and I actually did on an earlier live stream. I got the Northern New Jersey Weather Observers on for a little while, but then they experienced internet signal difficulty, so I lost their signal out halfway. So
I wonder if we have any connectivity. Well, we must have, because we're on the air right now.
Well, I'm going to I'll dial Addison again.
This is almost like
Phoenicia.
Regis and Kathy Lee when they used to call somebody in the morning.
Well, we'll try to get Addison. We'll dial. While he's dialing, why don't we bring up the radar, because we do have some severe weather going on to our west, and this is part of this flare-up, Joe. This line of thunderstorms with this cold front that's coming through. It looks to me like they're peaking right now, and they're still not even into northeastern Pennsylvania. So I just wonder how much of this stuff is going to be around in another 2 hours.
Well, the sun set about half an hour ago, and so no more diurnal heating. And as we get deeper into the evening hours, and as the air becomes more stable and cools, what you're seeing right now is likely to diminish. So it'll be a question as to whether or not something holds together by the time it reaches the immediate tri-state area. The Hudson Valley has probably the best shot of seeing some significant activity. As you get down into northern and central Jersey, and especially Long Island, a lot of that stuff may either be very weak or may not even be around at all.
Right.
Did we get a connection?
No, not yet.
No. All right.
I'm just going to keep dialing. In the meantime, let's bring up the HRRR, if I can find what I did with it. Oh, you know what? Before we even do that, we can look at the satellite, the visible tonight. Oops. Here we go. And this is really, we really never got into any kind of a solid warm sector today. It really didn't happen, and we're seeing now this cold front that's coming. So that was the other thing as far as the coast was concerned. And just how much was there for it to work on with that marine layer was still kind of there even till late afternoon.
Right, and as I mentioned yesterday, if we got some good breaks of sun by later in the afternoon, that might have helped if you were, hoping for some significant or severe or strong to severe activity. But that never really got started. As Joe mentioned, the marine layer kind of overwhelmed any potential threat for us, and now it's just, as I said, a matter of whatever holds together between now and midnight coming through, and then we're in for a stretch of really nice weather for the next several days.
That's what it looks like. So at least we can get this out of the way. We have no rain in the forecast. I don't have anything until maybe Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night or Tuesday at the very earliest. And it looks like we're going to be in line for not a heat wave. I mean, the fact that we're calling for temperatures
1 or 2 days above 90, that doesn't work.
Well, you need officially. I don't know who came up with the official rules.
I've done everything but jump up and down and scream about this. The 3-day heat wave is it's too low a threshold.
Right.
It happens too many times.
Right.
And then you get somebody who'll inevitably say, "Oh, we're having more heat waves than we had 20 years ago." Well, maybe because 20 years ago we used to be 5 days was the criteria. Now they changed it to 3.
Well, it's kind of like with the blizzard too. They used to change the criteria.
I really wish they would just go back to 5 days and just leave it at that. Yeah. Heat waves were not regular occurrences every summer. So, and that's the way it should be.
I think it's because of the mainstream media demanding. They say they hear about blizzards and heat waves. We need more of these. So they lower the criteria, and
nonsense.
That kind of stuff.
All right. So one thing about what's going on in the east is the fact that we've got this. They still have this deep trough that's in eastern Canada and extends southward. So we're kind of in that. We mentioned this yesterday. This sort of sweet spot with this northerly wind going into Saturday. So that's going to keep the humidity low. A strong June sun is going to bake the air. But at the very, I think it's going to still be let's call it's comfortable on Saturday. It may start to get slightly more uncomfortable on Sunday, but I truly don't think it gets unreasonably uncomfortable until Monday, because that is the day that we're going to get the temperatures that'll probably be up in the middle 90s, except for Teterboro, which will probably go to 102.
Yeah, something is definitely wrong with the Teterboro thermometer. We used to talk about, first we talked about Newark, and then we talked about LaGuardia, and now all of a sudden they passed this problem over to Teterboro, which seems to be running like 3 to 5 degrees warmer than any other thermometer in the tri-state area.
Yeah. The other thing, Joe, that was kind of interesting to me, Tropical Storm Bud, which you could see it here on the GFS in the lower left, coming ashore in Baja California on Friday. That moisture just shoots up into the southwest, but it keeps on going. So in terms of drought relief for that area, it's not going to produce very much. It might produce a couple of inches of rain, but because it's moving so fast, thanks to a deep trough out in the west, it's in and out. And then that rain, if you follow what looks like the remnants of this, it comes over the top of the northern plains of the Great Lakes and then drops over us next Tuesday with that cold front that moves on through late Monday night, Tuesday morning.
Right. So some of the rain that we may see Monday night or Tuesday may in fact be some of the moisture that originated down off of the Baja California coastline with Bud. And we're not saying that Bud itself or even a weakened version
I don't
of
even
Bud
think
is
you
coming
would.
this
Yeah,
way.
you wouldn't even know the difference.
Right. Right.
You would have no idea that there was a tropical system if we didn't tell you there was one.
Right. Right. And as I've always said, you can have a tropical system come our way. People will go, crazy. They'll be running back and forth, storming the food markets because, let's say Betsy is coming or the Alma is coming or whatever. But if it doesn't have a name, it's just a regular, rainstorm, and nobody really cares then.
Well, just looking at the overall pattern going forward, I still think that, hot days are going to be few. And by hot days, I mean 90 to 95 at least. My threshold is higher, but because of the fact that you keep getting these weather systems that are dropping into eastern Canada, I think it's just going to be hard to string more than a couple of days of 90 plus temperatures without another cold front coming through. We're going to have one coming through, Tuesday of next week, so that shuts it off, and you still have a flow that's coming from northwest Canada into the northeast. So yeah. I just don't see it going in through the rest of the month.
I remember in my much younger days, there were summers where you looked at the upper air pattern, and we were like under like a 594 ridge of high pressure. The air was absolutely stagnant. You kept looking up toward Canada, hoping we'd get a nice strong cold front or at least a reasonably good front, and there was never any of that nature. And yet, as you just pointed out here, what we have is a fast flow out of Canada, and if that flow was maintained for, part of most of this upcoming summer, I think you're absolutely right.
Well, look who we have. It's Addison.
Hey,
You've joined us. We've been calling you for hours.
Yeah.
Well, not hours.
I don't have much service in my basement. Sorry, I missed your call.
Okay, well, you are on the guest list tonight, Addison.
All right.
Okay.
It's welcomed. It's going to be welcomed.
Addison Green, Fios 1 News, Long Island and Hudson Valley during the midday hours, and we're watching Addison. We're talking about these thunderstorms. By the way, folks, because now that I worked out the technical glitches, we're going to start bringing on some guests from time to time. So I think you'll enjoy it. Addison, I pulled up the regional radar. You're up on the screen here with you. And we see these thunderstorms that kind of they're reaching peak intensity now. This is kind of playing out according to plan, right?
Yeah, for the most part, we're seeing these storms, Joe, finally starting to approach our area. I was just taking a look at some of the warnings that were popping up, and I believe that the tornado watch issued up across portions of upstate New York into northern Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. And they're starting to fire up and get down this way. But look at the timing of I believe both the HRRR and the RPM models are both hinting at the chance for seeing those storms come through.
Well, you know what? Let me bring up the
midnight,
HRRR. So let's do that. I'll bring up the HRRR because we didn't. We were looking at the GFS a little while ago, but that's a good idea to take a look at. So I'll have that off to the side here, and hang on.
Sure.
I'm directing and producing and co-starring.
What's Mr. Rayo doing?
La Rayo?
Yeah, La Rayo.
I'm here.
He's here.
All right, hey, Joe.
Hang on.
Can you see me?
Well, I have you and I off screen right now.
Right. Okay.
We're giving.
I'm here, Addison.
Giving a little time to Addison here. Okay, so I'm looking at the new HRRR, Addison, and the storms that are in Pennsylvania just die out, and the northern part of that line kind of holds together as it goes across Binghamton. Joe, it looks like it clips parts of your area, but I think the bulk of it's going to want this kind of is telling us that the southern end of that line is going to weaken pretty quickly in another hour or two.
Yeah, as I said, Long Island, forget about it, and for a good part of northern New Jersey, save maybe for Sussex in the northwest corner. Not much activity from this because everything's just falling apart as it runs into that more stable air mass as on its move to the east. And so, I mean, if you were hoping for, I don't know how many of you were, if you were hoping for severe weather, it doesn't look like it's going to be happening in any part of our FiOS 1 viewing area tonight.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, especially as that cold front starts to approach the marine layer. I mean, I can't count how many times we see these storms potentially coming our way and then just kind of like fizzle out.
Hey, Addison, you've gotten very large in the shot. Did you zoom in?
Oh, I turned it horizontal. You want me to go back to vertical?
Switch to vertical again. Let's see how that looks.
Sure.
That looks.
Yeah, stay on the vertical. The horizontal, I think it was too tight.
Okay.
Yeah, so stay on the vertical. I'm going to go to the screen to the Facebook side of it and just get a couple of the comments here.
Sure.
Everybody's saying that the audio is better tonight, so my little tech experiment has worked. Judy Downing Marvel Burton is in Pennsylvania.
That's a four-barreled name.
Yes, we're in Pennsylvania, Judy, getting severe storms tonight. So so you're near tornado warning near Altoona, so you're probably in that vicinity there in Altoona on up to Williamsport with tornado warning. Thanks for Happy Father's Day, Jeanette Myers. Grandson is doing very well. Happy Father's Day to you too.
Thank
you. Just running back, will it become much more pleasant temperature-wise next week after the heat of Sunday and Monday? Something along the lines of what we've had the last few days. So let me make sure Addison's on the screen here. Hold on. Yeah, you're there.
Is he asleep?
No, he's there. So Addison, what do you think? After we go to 90 to 95 on Monday, except for Teterboro gets to 102, and probably LaGuardia gets to 101. What do you think about his question with regards to yes, Ivan, I'll be ready in a few minutes.
Of course, can't keep Ivan around.
My director hunts me down about getting cooler again, or what we may experience. Not so much tomorrow, but Friday, because Friday is going to be cooler than tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely think that this little burst of heat and somewhat muggy air that we're going to get is coming our way is nothing that's going to be long-lasting by any means. I mean, we're talking like 1 to 2 days tops, like Father's Day, the second half, into Monday, and then maybe lingering towards Tuesday. Depends how quickly that front drops on down. But not really seeing a big lasting burst of heat coming our way. And a little side note, looking at more of the widespread GFS, for instance, and a little bit of the NAM, Tropical Storm Bud, that's now across the Baja California area.
Yeah, I'll bring the satellite picture up. Hang on one second.
Sure.
And you can keep going. I'll bring the satellite up while you're talking about it.
Sure.
Bud, by the way, second Category 4 hurricane in less than a week on the Pacific side. But go on. It's slowly moving toward the southern tip of Baja.
Yeah, and we're going to get the chance for seeing a little bit of a trough out towards the west coast and a ridge building up across the nation's heartland. help to travel that moisture further northward, and it looks like we're going to get some of that tropical moisture come our way Monday into Tuesday.
Yeah, we were looking at that before. We were looking at that before.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, I was. You don't see that too often. A lot of times when these storms come in the west like that, they usually that moisture stays to the west of the Rockies, or maybe it goes into Southern California, Arizona, Nevada, and so on. This is going to shoot straight up through the Rockies, then make a right turn across the northern plains, and then move southeastward from the Great Lakes. You really don't see that happen very often.
No, not too often. And when I used to live out there in Colorado, I remember seeing sometimes some of these Pacific storms come on up and bring a good amount of moisture, big, heavy downpours in across the Rocky Mountains and toward Denver. But yeah, it's kind of unusual to see that moisture travel all the way across the country. This is something you would typically find from a landfalling system in the Gulf, or maybe on the east coast of Florida, I should say.
Yeah, this is a pattern with this hurricane. What we're about to see with Bud is something that you're more likely to see, let's say, in September or October. They usually, at this time of the year, they being the tropical cyclones or hurricanes, they usually kind of come up and then they veer off to the west, out over the much cooler waters of the Pacific. So it's kind of unusual at this early stage of the game to see a storm like this suddenly come up and then make a right turn instead of a left-hand turn.
Well, you got a deep. If you look at the top of that loop, you can see the clouds dropping. There's a deep trough off the west coast that's coming into the west, and that's been persistent for months. That troughing in the western part of the U.S. And yeah, while it's there now and as deep as it is, that's going to pull things more northward. And there may be a third tropical storm in less than 10 days that develops south and east of Bud. There's disturbed weather that looks better organized this evening, at least according to what the Hurricane Center says. Just real quick, Addison, I kind of think that with the weather pattern that we're in overall, it's going to be very hard to string together more than a couple of days of 90-degree temperatures. We're not going to have more than, say, 2 days in a row, maybe an outside chance of 3, but let's say 2 days in a row of 90-degree weather before another cold front comes down. That to me looks like the pattern going into the rest of the month.
Yeah, I would definitely agree along those lines. And if I'm not mistaken, looking back at what the Climate Prediction Center predicted for the beginning of summer for us, I believe temperatures were kind of on par with average, and we were going to be seeing maybe more higher chances for precipitation. So certainly that's the trend that some of the short-term models are showing, that looking like we're not going to be seeing any heat waves coming to the tri-state area anytime soon.
Right. All right, so let's leave it at that, guys. Got to get ready for the top of the hour. So you will be on midday tomorrow, Fios 1 News, Long Island and Hudson Valley, correct?
Correct, sir. From noon to 5, I'll be on, and meteorologist Brittany Bohr will be on our New Jersey channel, Fios 1 News New Jersey, also at the same time, noon to 5. And we definitely got some beautiful weather coming our way to talk about, and it's not often we get a chance to string multiple days in a row, especially into a weekend. I think a lot of people definitely are looking forward to enjoying Father's Day with the dads out there underneath some beautiful sunshine.
All right, and your Fios 1 News Hudson Valley.
Lower
Hudson Valley.
Right, I'll have to get that lower in.
Yes, please. And
how low can you go?
Stop. And I'm Fios 1 News Long Island and New Jersey. Joe and I will both be coming up at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. You'll see Addison tomorrow. And let's not forget Brian Fitzgerald and Jeffrey Banson, who will be holding fort down in the morning right here on Fios 1 News. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to be trying to get more guests on over the coming weeks and months. It's nice. We got, we got company now.
Interaction here.
Yeah. I'm glad we worked out the technical kinks after all the sessions. Right.
Yeah, it took a little while and a few tears, but finally figured it out. And I was jumping for joy yesterday when I figured it out. Before I went home last night, I was like I was in heaven driving home, even with construction and traffic.
Yes, success.
All right, have a great night, Addison. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, you guys.
And you folks at home, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Au reservoir.
All right, bye, guys.
Good night.